Let's start with, I promise it will be 200 okay. So for the initial detection here, what we saw was Citrix quietly released a patch just before Christmas. This was around the 17th of December. When I say quietly released, I mean it was out there, everybody was notified, but nobody really took advantage of it, nobody really patched. Obviously, being just a week before the holidays, folks were probably kind of in relax mode, kind of in coast mode, and figured we'll patch after we get back. Unfortunately, about a month later, just as everybody was getting back into the swing of things, we saw some proof of concept code that was published on a public blog that had unfortunately been operationalized. Now, kind of the dirty version of operationalize would mean it is literally copy, paste, click enter, and start executing. Now, hours after that was released, we started seeing everything being scanned for this. We're talking everybody and their brother, as we normally see with a lot of vulnerabilities and widespread proof of concept code. Everybody was being scanned. Everybody was being hit with this. When we first started this, we released a community protection event. Now, community protection event, you'll see this several times in these slides. What that is an event and an heightened state of alert that we put our managed defense customers in when we see a threat, a piece of malware, a vulnerability, something that is impactful to multiple managed defense customers and even the internet as a whole. So think of when a new vulnerability comes out. WannaCry would be a good example of a community protection event. This affected a number of people, was disrupting business networks, business environments, that sort of thing. That is a managed defense CPE. You can think of it kind of a live tweet of activity and a live tweet of how we keep customers safe. So we released one of those for this. And we said, hey, this is something significant. You guys need to start patching this. We can help you guys patch it. We can tell you all the info that we have on it, the malware that's being spread through this vulnerability. So we were working to patch customers the day after this patch, this proof of concept code was operationalized. So the first things that we started seeing when we started seeing actual exploitation of this is going to be the stuff that we kind of tend to see very rapidly after an exploitation. And that is, you guessed it, Bitcoin miners and kind of the low-level commodity malware type stuff. Of course, everybody still in 2020 likes to deploy Bitcoin miners. So we started seeing a lot of that first. Now, as folks were patching, what we were doing was also taking cases from managed defense, taking cases from incident response, working with some of our Flare team to really gain a whole picture of what exactly was happening here. And one of those things that we did was we actually partnered with Citrix, worked with some of our friends over there, and created an open source scanner that we released to the public. So what this scanner allowed us to do was take all the indicators that we had seen from our IR engagements and from our rapid response engagements, put those in an easy-to-use bash script and an easy-to-use program so customers could very easily run this on their Citrix devices and say, hey, was I compromised? Yes or no? Here's these things that you should look for. Now, after we saw the initial exploit, we started seeing some very interesting activity. We called this piece of malware Not Robin. And basically what we saw was an adversary would go to vulnerable machines, compromise them, patch them, and then get rid of any other evidence of any sort of compromise. And then they would just kind of lay dormant. So we're talking about some very interesting techniques from adversaries here. And then finally, our resolution here is customers patch, the world is happy, that sort of thing.